Critics are, of course, calling out the Biden administration for its handling of the latest travel crisis. One op-ed arguing the Southwest Airlines mess has politicians angling to rule the skies. Congresswoman Nancy Mace also speaking out with this.
I want to be very careful about the federal government coming in and regulating our airlines. But when the federal government and taxpayers bail out airlines like Southwest to the tune of over $7 billion, what I first want to see is an accounting of where that money went, because clearly it didn't go to upgrading and updating their technology to prepare for this kind of disaster.
With more on this, Fox News contributor and columnist for The Hill, Joe Concha. Joe, I'm so excited to talk to you about this. It is wild that people are still suffering in this way and just trying to find their stuff and finally get to their destinations. You know, this op-ed goes on. It says the only worst result for seething passengers would be to put Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg in charge. Now, Buttigieg has promised an investigation saying, you know, Southwest will be held accountable. And over the summer, he did meet with the airlines. But, you know, did government fail here as well?
Well, I think this is primarily on the shoulders of Southwest in this situation, Molly. I was on the full 3 hours on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business earlier with Cheryl Castoni and Todd Pyro earlier, and we spoke to Captain Michael Santoro. He's the vice president of Southwest Pilot Association, and he says they still haven't heard, the Pilots Association still hasn't heard from executives at Southwest. I mean, that's incredible. Nearly a week later, you're seeing it on your screen, tens of thousands of passengers impacted, sleeping on floors, as you mentioned, booking hotel rooms for nights on end that they may not be able to afford. And the numbers are staggering. 16,000 flights canceled over 6 days, a total collapse of communication internally at Southwest, and now we see the horrific results externally, Molly. So while we could point to Pete Buttigieg and the Transportation Secretary and the Biden administration in general, as far as are they on top of this now as well, mainly this is about a private entity in Southwest simply not, as Nancy Mace just pointed out, not using money from revenues or from government bailouts to upgrade the software, to create redundancy and to modernize it, because no other airline is having remotely any types of problems like this. Southwest clearly didn't invest where it should have.
Yeah, and some of those pilots and flight attendants said they saw this coming. The White House announcing travelers from China will now be required to get a negative COVID test prior to arrival in the U.S., China having the same policy. Remember, as a candidate, though, Joe Biden criticized President Trump, this is kind of going back in time a little bit, for the restrictions he put on travel from China, saying this is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia. You know, are we going back in time in more than one way in some regard?
Well, I could go back in time here, Molly, and talk about Joe Biden as a candidate when he promised to stop and control the virus. Those were his words. And as we've seen, this is a virus that's going to go where it's going to go. And I just don't quite understand two things as far as this order with China and its air travel to here and other parts of the world. In terms of, well, why are we waiting until January 5th to enact this? And again, I'm not sure if it makes too much of a difference, because remember the days of contact tracing and trying to pin down who has the virus, who doesn't, quarantines, lockdowns. As we've seen, China has had the most draconian lockdowns you could possibly imagine over the last year, and you're still seeing a complete and total outbreak within the borders of that country. So I'm not sure any policy really can do anything at this point. Considering that a lot of people, 70% of people in this country are vaccinated, and we're still seeing breakthrough cases, and we're still seeing it transmitted by those who are unvaccinated and vaccinated. I'm not sure that this is really going to make that much of a difference anyway, regardless of the rhetoric that Joe Biden used in the past as a candidate or against Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know, speaking of people that are trying to get from place to place, the crisis is really just stacking up here at home. This massive winter storm last week, the border, crime, inflation. Some Americans are being forced to choose between, you know, food and just heating their home. President Joe Biden, though, is enjoying this relaxing vacation. He's at the villa of a billionaire Democratic donor. The Bidens got that invite to the tropical islands after inviting the donors to a state dinner. You know, your thoughts on sort of just the optics of this generally in the midst of all these challenges, and also the donor aspect.
Well, very few people, I don't think, would begrudge any president, Molly, who takes a break during the holiday season. Every president basically does it. The problem with Mr. Biden is that seemingly every weekend is an extended holiday weekend. Delaware beaches, Nantucket, now St. Croix, it doesn't matter. This is the R&R presidency. 59 weekend visits to Delaware alone, and we're not even 2 years into this presidency. And you know, given the horrific death toll in Buffalo, I think it's above 36 now. It's the worst we've seen there from a storm in 45 years. You got to go all the way back to 1977. And given the thousands of people we just talked about stranded at airports for days on end, and given everything that we're seeing at the U.S. southern border, which is well past crisis point, we're at humanitarian catastrophe levels.
Right.
This trip to the Virgin Islands looks tone deaf because it is. It would have been a welcome surprise from Republicans, Democrats alike if Mr. Biden either visited the border, visited Buffalo, or just tried to show that he cared, and by being at St. Croix and an expensive house that comes from a wealthy Democratic donor, the optics are bad. Let's face it.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens when everyone returns to the scene, to government, to a new Congress in 2023. Appreciate your insights, Joe. It was wonderful to see you. Happy New Year.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.